Quarantine Fun Facts Part 8. Between coronavirus and quarantines, it can really feel like the world is coming to an end, which gave me a bit of an idea. Today, I'm going to make a series of 4 videos explaining the 4 likely explanations for how the universe and all life as we know it will end, just to brighten your day up a little bit. But hear me out for a second. In order for the next 4 videos to stay under 60 seconds, there are 2 things you need to know. A, the universe will always tend towards the state of highest entropy and seek equilibrium. For example, if I put a hot object, which has a lot of energy, next to a cold object, which has less energy, energy from the hot object will move into the cold object until they both reach a stable temperature. That's an example of a system seeking equilibrium and moving towards the state of highest entropy. And B, the universe is constantly expanding, and the rate of that expansion is increasing over time. We attribute this to something called dark energy, and I'll do a full video on that later. Now that you know that, you're ready for the next 4 videos, so please check them out on my page and follow if you like them. Alright, part 2, and in this one we're going to cover the most likely explanation for how the universe will end, and to be honest, it's kind of a sad one. The most realistic scenario for the end of the universe is something that in astrophysics we call heat death. We explained in the last video that the universe is constantly expanding, and the rate of that expansion is getting faster over time. So the idea is basically that as that goes on, the things that make the universe interesting, like stars and planets, will die out, because as the universe gets farther apart, the gas clouds that form new stars will begin to become so spread out that they can't form new stars. So existing stars will die, black holes will dissipate due to what's known as Hawking radiation, and I will do a full video on black holes later, so that'll make more sense. But essentially, what we'll be left with is a vast, empty, and probably timeless universe. That one's kind of sad, but the next 3 are more interesting, I promise. Alright, how the universe might end, part 3, and in this one we're going to talk about the situation colloquially known as the Big Rip. It's very similar to heat death, but with a little twist. We've talked about how the universe is expanding, but on local systems, gravity is still the dominant force. In galaxies, star systems will orbit the supermassive black hole at the center. In solar systems, planets will orbit the sun, all due to gravity. But the idea behind the Big Rip is that over time, gravity will lose the fight to dark energy. And essentially, gravity will become too weak to keep things together, and dark energy, as this expansion grows, will basically begin to rip individual particles apart, more than heat death, not just dissipation, but it'll actually rip these particle structures apart until eventually the entire universe is just a boundless sea of these particles that are incapable of interacting with each other, meaning time would stop, all physics would stop, just everything would stop because no particles could interact anymore. How the universe might end, part 4, and this one is by far the most hopeful, which is good because you're going to need the hope to get through the next video. This one is called the Big Crunch, and it hinges around the idea that we as the scientific community may be wrong about the amount of dark energy in the universe. This could be due to 2 things. Either A, we've made an error in the maths and have miscalculated the amount of it, or B, as the universe continues to expand, the dark energy diminishes over time. Either way, the idea is this. If the dark energy runs out at some point, the only dominant force left would be gravity, which means that the expansion would stop, and the universe would start to get smaller, and smaller, and smaller, and hotter, and more filled with energy until black holes form and coalesce into one mecha black hole that would encompass everything in the universe, eating everything, including itself, until another Big Bang happens. Big Crunch theory says that this has happened a bunch of times, and the Big Bang was just one point in the infinite timeline of the universe. How the universe might end, part 5, and this one is my personal favorite. It is the idea of vacuum decay. First, you have to understand the idea of quantum fields. Quantum fields dictate the laws for the universe, and different fields are responsible for different physical properties of particle interactions. So, for example, the Higgs field is responsible for how an item gets its mass. Now, quantum fields, like everything else in physics, wants to hit its lowest energy state, and in physics we call that a vacuum state. Well, the theory is that unlike all other quantum fields, the Higgs field might actually be in what's known as a false vacuum state, meaning there is a lower energy level. And if, in some random point in the universe, due to an effect known as quantum tunneling, a single particle is able to hit a lower Higgs state, that would cause an ever-expanding ball of energy that would grow at the speed of light throughout the entire universe, instantly deleting everything that it touches. And on the inside of that ball, the laws of physics as we know it would be fundamentally different, and there's nothing we can do to detect it.